Hi, I'm Chris with Sanderson Test Prep, and in this quick video we're going to take a look at a couple of one-step equations and talk about how we can solve for a variable x. So if you're looking at this video, it might mean that you have just gotten introduced to the idea of solving for a variable. So we're going to start easy with these equations where it will take us only one step. And the main key is to get a variable by itself. What you have to do with the other values on that side of the equation is the opposite math operation. So let's take a look at this first example and see what we mean. Here it says 7 plus x equals 25. The 7 here is being added to the x. The x is having a positive 7 added to it. So in order to get rid of that 7, we would have to subtract 7 so that those will cancel out. And whatever we do to one side of an equation, we always have to do that very same thing to the other side of that equation. So here we would have to subtract 7 from the right side of the equal sign, and we would be left with x equals 25 minus 7 is going to give us 18. And that would be our final answer for x. Let's try two more examples to make sure we've got the hang of it. Here x minus 10 is equal to 6. So for this one, since we are subtracting 10, if we have the minus in here, then that means to get rid of it, we have to do the opposite. We're going to add 10 so that those two values will cancel out to 0. And whatever we do to the left side, we have to do the same thing to the right side of that equal sign. So we will add 10 over here, and x will equal 6 plus 10, which is 16. Let's take a look at one more. So this one's a little bit more difficult. We have a negative 4 in front of the x. So we see a minus sign, and your first instinct might be to add 4. But what's important for us to note is that this entire value here, the negative 4, when you write a number in front of a variable, we call that the coefficient. And the coefficient is being multiplied by the variable. So just for some examples, I'll put these off to the right. If you write down 5x just by itself, or 3x, or negative 2x, in each of those cases, it means that x is being multiplied by 5, or by 3, or by a negative 2. So even though you see the minus sign on a negative number, it's still just one number. It's a negative 2 times x in that case. And for our example here, with negative 4x, this negative 4 is being multiplied times x. So to solve, we would have to divide by negative 4 on both sides. And we would be left with x equals negative 7. 4 goes into 28 7 times, and when you're dividing a positive by a negative, you end up with a negative result. And one good way to remember that is to use a tic-tac-toe board. So here, on a tic-tac-toe board, if you put positive signs diagonally down the board, and then fill in negative signs everywhere else, then that can tell you what result you would get when you multiply or divide by a negative. And so if you were to go in this direction, a positive times a negative would give you a negative result. And it works for any direction that you go all the way around the board. If you went down this way, again, you'd have a positive times a negative, or divided by a negative, either way, would give you a negative result, would equal a negative. And it's going to work the same even if you try a diagonal one. So let me move these so that we can see what this would look like as a diagonal. If we went this way, in either direction, a negative times a positive would give us a negative result. Or you could try that in the other direction. A negative number divided by a positive number would give us a negative result. So any direction that we go on this tic-tac-toe board will allow us to figure out the sign of our answer when we're dealing with positives and negatives, which is something that you will start to see as you get further into one-step equations. If you have questions, please feel free to check out our other videos, and thanks for watching.